Welcome back to another episode of Iron Talons Engineering. Now, as you saw in the last video, the engine's practically done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the engine off the stand. We're going to remove the old spigot bearing with a technique I learned online, which may or may not work, but it's going to be interesting to try. Install the flywheel with the new ARP bolts, and then we're going to install the clutch. Now, we haven't actually bought a clutch yet, but when we do, that'll all go on. So this is the flywheel that I've got. This was the original, well, this was the one that I put on it when I swapped the engine, and it was all, it had judder marks on it basically from drifting and the friction from the clutch. So I took it to work, I trued it up in the lathe, and I managed to skim like 2 or 3 thou off of it just to get the judder marks out, so it's all nice and smooth now. So that's ready to go back on. Like I said as well, we plumbed for some ARP hardware just because, well, it's good. So I don't know, that's like 50 quid, so it's just worth it. Don't use your old ones. Like I said, the clutch down there was all hard. First thing we've got to do though is we've got to paint the bell housing. So let's paint the bell housing, shall we? And that's the bell housing now all painted. So now we're going to get the R154 up on the worktop, and we're going to start mounting this together, and we've got to get the engine off the stand, and then we can begin installing everything. This is a clutch kit I got, guys. It came from JDM Garage, Extreme Performance Clutch. To be fair, it's reasonably priced for a full kit for what you got, and with JDM Garage, normally they send you some sweets with it as well. But this time they didn't send me no sweets, so yeah, I'm not too happy about that. Anyway, this is basically what you get in the kit. You get the full pilot bearing, you get the tool to align the clutch, assembly lube. You also get new pack of bolts for the pressure plate. You get the throw-out bearing, the pressure plate, and then the friction disc in here. You also get this little booklet here which tells you how to install the spacers and the throw-out bearing on the pressure plate, because obviously the R154 gearbox is a, oh Christ, it's a push or a pull. It's a pull type, so it's different to the push, so you need to put this on the pressure plate before you put everything together. Right, so first thing we've got to do, as you just saw, we got it off the stand. So now we need to get the pilot bearing out. Now, there's plenty of ways we can get the new one in, the old one out, all that kind of stuff. You can get a custom tool or special tool, great, yeah, costs money though. You can pack it with grease and then whack it out with a nut and a bolt. This seems a bit boring, really. So one of the ways I wanted to try was I'm going to use bread. Right? So you take your sandwich, right? And apparently you remove a crust, like so, and you stuff all of that in the hole. Alright, just keep wadding it in, straight in the hole. Alright? Be careful there's no ducks around you, but you just keep wadding it in inside the hole until you can get no more in the hole. Then apparently what you do, you take a bolt of the same size, which this is a 12mm bolt, so 12mm hole, and you put it in. Oh, that ain't enough bread. That ain't enough bread there, boy. Right, should we put more bread in the hole? More bread in the hole. There we go. Lovely jubbly. I don't think anyone would have thought of this in this history in Japan. This engine would have ever thought, oh yes mate, get some bread in my pilot bearing hole. But this is what we're doing. So you keep smushing it in. Just keep smushing it in. You might be left with half a sandwich afterwards. You know, you never know. So you just keep smushing it in like that. Just keep going. Just keep whamming that full. Just keep whamming it full of bread. Get in there. Get it. Gotcha. There we go. Getting full of bread. Getting so full of bread now. So, we get the bread in the hole. Let's see if we can do it, shall we? Let's see what it does. Will it work? Will it work? I can't believe it. It's actually working. But we need more bread in the hole. Should get some more bread in the hole. There we go. Bread in the hole. Lovely job. Get that bread in the hole. Let's see. Bread in the hole. Yes. So that's all in there now. Let's see if it does it. Right. Keep whacking, keep whacking, keep. It's actually coming. It's actually coming out. I cannot believe this. And we hit the bottom again. Just need a little bit more bread in the hole. Let's put the bread in the hole there. There we go, get the bread in the hole. Don't have to be anything special bread-wise. You know, you can use your Marks and Spencer's loaf if you want. It's going to be a bit more pricey. Or you can go use a lovely Aldi loaf, you know. Don't matter, just needs to be soft. Take the crust off. Alright, and it's coming, and it's coming, and it's coming. Oh, we're so close. We're so close, and I might have to use my other bit of bread. I might still have some lunch. Should get that in there. Get in the hole. Get some bread in the hole. There we go. Right, keep pushing, and it's out. Look at that. Who would have thought that you can get your bearing out by putting bread in the hole? So now all you got to do is clear the bread out of the hole now, give it a little bit of grease, and put in the new one. So now we've got all the bread out of the hole and got the new pilot bearing in. We've got to put the flywheel on now. This is the lightened flywheel that I got years ago. Like I said at the start of the video, I resurfaced it so that's not juddery and everything's nice and true. Don't try and resurface it yourself if you're going to use a grinder or know nothing about basic machining and engineering and stuff like that. Alright guys, just get someone proper to do it. I had to proper make sure it was in line just so that it doesn't have any kind of vibration and wobble and stuff like that. But yeah, so we've got the flywheel to put on, and we've got ARP hardware, torque wrench and Loctite all ready to go. Torque wrench, if you're in England, I think online it said to do it to 75 foot-pounds of torque for the bolts, obviously in like a star kind of pattern, or you know, opposites, you know, just to us. Not in the same place, but really you do it to like 100 Newton meters on an English torque wrench. As I said earlier, with this new clutch, we've got to get this, or that hub assembly, off the old pressure plate and onto the new one. There's a couple of split rings in it, basically, what you just got to pop off inside and outside. You get the whole thing out, and the bit what actually mates into the middle of there is the throw out bearing. This one here, this is a new one. So we've got to get that off there, put it on there, and then degrease all of that, and then we can put the clutch on. And there's bits on here, on this central hub, that you've really got to look out for. It's not part of the clutch kit. This is like Toyota's stuff, basically, that needs to go on the clutch. So you got, like, I'm not sure if you can see it on here, but I'll try and show it to you when it's stuff. There's a series of like little washers and spacers underneath the little clip, like wavy washer, other bits and pieces like that. Just don't, if you're changing it yourself, just don't lose it, for God's sake. Put it somewhere where you know it's going to be safe, and remember the order that they go in. Let's crack on. Look at the pile of tools! Finally! I got that C-clip in. That was an absolute ball ache. But now we've got to do the other side. Let's see if that's a bit better, shall we? as we can see now, engine and gearbox all back together in one neat little package. If I weren't going to paint the engine bay and do a load of other stuff, this would just be ready to go straight back in right now. So the only thing we now got to do, I've done the fork off camera, so fork's back in, inspection plates are in, I've got to get a new slave cylinder for there, and I've got to paint the starter motor, so starter motor's over there ready to be painted with a load of the other engine bits. But yeah, she's looking quite tasty, to be fair. Everything went together quite easily. Only thing I think I did have a little bit of trouble was I lined the clutch, everything was like that, but it left a little bit of a gap between the pressure plate and the flywheel, so I had to just make sure that I was doing that right. But that all went together right, everything was fine, it's all been torqued down how it should be. And yeah, so this package is ready to go back in. What we're going to do though is we're going to stick it on a trolley so that we can move it around the workshop while we do the rest of the engine bay, getting it all ready to go back in there. So yeah, cheers for watching this one, guys. Yeah, cheers for watching this one, guys. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, all the subscribers, all the likes, all the shares, everything like that. So yeah, I'll just keep doing this, you keep doing you, and yeah, just like and subscribe, share it around and do all that, alright? Good luck with your own projects, guys. See you later.